wanna be good enough, good enough.
Welcome to the Look at Me Now podcast, the Coach Heather Experience, your space for transformation, elevation, and joy. Every week we explore how to live a joy-filled life in your career, in your relationships, and in your soul. From your personal life to your professional world, I'll help show you how to love yourself more, love others more, and fall in love with your life. Whether it's mindset, movement, or emotional growth, this show is your invitation to rediscover excitement, adventure, and confidence. Today, we are going to bust one of the biggest lies that women have ever been sold. I grew up believing that somewhere around 30, a woman's attractiveness just fizzled out. She was no longer attractive to men. She was no longer attractive, period. Not because my mom told me this. She never did. It was everywhere I looked. The culture whispered it. And I don't know if this was just the US or just the South, but movies worshipped youth, magazines obsessed over 20-year-old starlets, and the older women we heard about were the outliers. And there's nothing wrong with beautiful 20-year-olds, but there's also beautiful older women like J-Lo or Beyonce who are drop dead gorgeous. And the only, we always heard about a 70-year-old man dating a 20-something-year-old. And, we never really talked about the people dating women their own age. But what's so interesting is I thought all of this, but life and science have a very different story. So grab your coffee, lace up those sneakers, or curl up with your journal, because today we're diving deep into why beauty truly has no expiration date and how you can stay vibrant, energetic, magnetic, and confident for decades to come. So let's start with this lie. And one of my favorite mentors, one of my podcast mentors, that I just love, and I do some of her classes, she said, ladies, you're not going to be 25 again. What a lie. Your body will never look like it did at 25, so just accept it. I'm sorry, but that is not true. My mentor that I love so much, I have to tell you, Tanya, this is not true. My butt is higher now than it was at 25, and you've been lifting weights recently, according to your podcast, so I'm sure you're seeing this same phenomenon. I'm stronger, leaner, and more sculpted than I ever was in my 20s. I have the same energy level, and I feel exactly like I did when I was 21 years old. Now, do I look the same? Of course not. As a nurse and a traveler, I've met 86-year-olds with six-packs, 92-year-olds with glowing skin and graceful posture, and women in their 50s and 60s who look like 35-year-old movie stars with no plastic surgery. These are not miracles. They are simply women who have made different choices in their lives about movement, mindset, and self-care. And when you feel good about yourself and you feel that you're beautiful and magnetic, you present that to the world, right? And then others feel that. Harvard psychologist Ellen Langer proved decades ago that aging isn't just biology, it's belief. Her famous counterclockwise study that I read about in Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, and I didn't believe it, so I had to look it up and research her study. It brought a group of elderly men to a retreat designed to look and feel exactly as if it was 22 years earlier. For 5 days, they watched old TV shows, they listened to music from their youth, and they were told to act as if they were 22 years younger. The results are absolutely incredible. 5 days. posture straightened, vision, hearing, and memory improved. Even their blood work was different. Their blood pressures were lower. Independent judges said they looked younger in photographs. I mean, the power of our minds is literally mind-blowing. And I know because I've listened to this speaking eloquently that literally is not the right word, but I'm just me and I'm authentic and I'm real. And this is the truth. No pills, no surgery, just a shift in environment and mindset. Modern research confirms it. People who feel younger than their chronological age live longer, recover faster, and have better blood pressure. And I'm living proof of this. My body looks better now than it did when I was 25 years old. It's incredible. And what happens too is movement, mindset, these things, they actually reduce the senescent cells that cause aging. So you really do look and feel younger. Positive beliefs about aging predict an average 7.5-year increase in life expectancy. And this is real scientific research, right? This is not some pie in the sky woo-woo thing. And like I said, exercise reduces those senescent cells, the zombie cells that accelerate aging and cause aging. It also lengthens the telomeres, the protective caps on your DNA, which actually prevents aging and slows aging way down. One of my favorite orthopedic surgeons that does clinical research that was on Mel Robbins talks about how your muscles at 75 can look like 35-year-old in peak condition on an MRI. Your thoughts and habits literally send chemical instructions to your cells to tell them how to age. So, this is what I've seen with my own eyes. Travel has shown me this truth over and over again. From Charleston to Toronto to Dallas to Palm Beach to all over California, I've watched confident, radiant women in their 40s, 50s, and even 60s outshine the 20-somethings in upscale bars, restaurants, and hotel lounges. And my 20-somethings, you are beautiful and relish in your age, but also take this to heart that life doesn't end when you turn 30 or 35. Men, wealthy, confident men of all ages will walk right past younger women to approach the vibrant, magnetic, and attractive women their own age. Not because they're chasing maturity or they don't like the young women, but like attracts like, which is another scientific and spiritual principle that is rooted in scientific evidence. Energy seeks resonance. A man in his 40s who feels alive and powerful is drawn to a woman that mirrors that energy. Someone fit, magnetic, and full of life. So if there's a bunch of hot women at the bar, the man in his 60s is going to be attracted to the hot woman closer to his age the majority of the time. But this is not what we see, right, on TV, media, movies, and that's because normalcy, that doesn't sell, right? We want the juicy stuff, like the 70-year-old with the 25-year-old. That's what sells. That's what sells paper. That's what sells content. That's what sells media. But in real life, the majority of people are attracted to people similar to them. And if there's hot women similar to their age, they are going to go after that woman. Especially, if she's charismatic and fun and charming and feels young, just like they feel young, okay? Because like attracts like. So let's talk about your age-defying playbook. Science is exciting, but action is everything. So here's how to bend time in your favor. And I know you've heard about this, like manipulating time, right? Coach Heather style. Number 1, Train for life, not a season. Strength training, Pilates, yoga, dance, karate, lifting, any kind of daily movements slows cellular aging and keeps hormones balanced. Aim for at least 150 minutes of movement per week and 2 to 3 strength sessions every week. And strength sessions can be lifting weights, it can be yoga, it can be Pilates, like lifting your body weight. 2, feed your cells. Colorful produce, lean protein, healthy fats, and hydration lower inflammation and keep the skin glowing. So I have a couple smoothies that I'm going to put up on my social media this week, and I'll try to add the smoothie photos to this the notes section of this podcast. But you can actually, like the plant protein powder, you can just get it at Publix, you can get it at Kroger, you can get chocolate, you can get vanilla, and there's all these delicious smoothies that you can make. And there's this really, really good collagen that you can put in your smoothies too that reduce aging. The protein builds lean muscle mass and helps with your body and your cellular growth. And then of course the fruits and veggies that you can put in the smoothie help with your entire body to reverse the signs of aging, to keep you healthy, lean, energetic, and fit. And they are literally delicious and they're inexpensive. So I'm going to put the photos and the little recipes. I'm going to attach it to the notes, and I'm also going to put it on my @Coach Heather Owens page, okay? Now, the next thing that reverses aging and keeps you young, vibrant, energetic, and magnetic at any age is loving your mind. Meditation, prayer, journaling, daily affirmations. It reduces your cortisol, it reduces your stress hormones, and it reinforces your youthful neural pathways. You actually can grow new brain cells your entire life. So try this mantra. I am vibrant, I am magnetic, and I am timeless. I am vibrant, I am magnetic, and I am timeless. Here's another one. Play the counterclockwise game, like the girl in the study did with her patients. Revisit music, photos, and activities from a time when you felt unstoppable. You can even put them in a little folder of photos on your phone. Your brain treats it like a youth reboot, just like it did in that study with the doctor and the men. Next, curate your circle. Spend time with people who celebrate life at every age. Energy is contagious. Choose those who make you feel expansive. I have tons of friends. I have friends that are, in their 20s, and I have friends that are in their 70s, right? But I don't spend time with people who talk about every ache and groan and moan and are constantly complaining and talking about, how negative everything is and how much their life sucks and how they're getting old and da-da-da-da. Because you know what? Some of the most amazing things in life have been done when people get older. The majority of millionaires make their first million in their 50s. The Sistine Chapel, not completed till he was 76. So many of people's greatest works, their greatest times in their life, have been done in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 40s. So we are timeless. Your future is, what's in your future is the best to come. Your best years are in front of you, no matter your age. And you know why that is? Because we get better with time and experience, right? We get more in love with ourselves. We get more confident. We get more bold. We get more creative. We learn from our life experiences, so we get smarter. So don't buy this crap and these lies that the media tells you that you're not worth anything, man or woman, that you should just throw it up and sit around and do nothing. No. Build, grow, expand, love, make an impact on society, on your loved ones. Have fun, travel, create new things, write your hit song, open your dream business, build your dream home or buy a home from the first time in your life. Create, love, grow. There's not an expiration date on your success. So hang out with other people that feel like you do. And if you don't have a lot of people in your life that feel like that, because sometimes it is hard to find depending on your area, the social constructs and the limiting beliefs that are in your area. But if you do have that, then get online, make some friends online. You can choose social groups, like one of the things because our phones listen to us. I'm in my 40s, but I'm constantly getting things that pop up, especially on Instagram, that are like, this 70-year-old dancing and she looks like a, hot 35-year-old, or, just all these things, Christy Brinkley, pictures of her, or like, people that are older but are living a young, quote, young, stereotypical young life, but that are just doing amazing things. People opening business, starting channels, becoming influencers, creating all these things and making a positive impact on the world. So you can find groups like that on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and kind of curate your feed to promote that positive, aging. Because it's not that we're trying to be 25. It's that we're trying to feel the best and look the best and do the best right now with what we have. So what happens is, like for me, when you exercise all the time, you move, and maybe so you start noticing your joints are hurting a little bit, or you start noticing your neck or lower back hurts, then you take up stretching, or you take up yoga, or you add a little collagen to your daily diet. And the next thing you know, you're feeling as good as you did when you were 20. And it's not that you're trying to be 20 again. It's that you're trying to be the best 42-year-old that you can be, or the best 55-year-old you can be, or the best 90-year-old that you can be, right? And part of that is you really can reverse aging. And a lot of what we've been told about aging is just lies, right? Because it's population control. If I can get you to sit around and do nothing, you will age, because sedentary lifestyle causes aging. That's why sometimes you see like 25-year-olds or 30-year-olds that look so much older than they are, physically. They might have to sit around all the time and have low energy and all these mental health issues. And a lot of that is from a sedentary lifestyle, because our bodies were created to move. We were not created to sit around all day and, like Tony Robbins calls, the box living, waking up in a box in our bed, getting ready in a box, going to work in the box, going to our job in the box, where we sit all day in the box. Then we get back in the movable box, our car, and we drive home, and then we watch the box, right, on TV, or we watch our iPads or whatever, streaming. And then we go back to bed in a box, but that is not what our bodies are meant for. We are meant to think and have intellectual pursuits, but we are meant to rest, but we are also meant to move. So we have to get up and move every single day, even if it's just pacing while you're talking on the phone, or creating something, or doing some voice memos. So let's get moving. Now, let's talk about some other mindset ways that we can, actionable strategies that we can turn back the clock. Okay, now let's talk about one of my favorite things besides me, but traveling. You don't have to travel if you don't like to fly, or you just don't have the money or time to travel. You could just change scenery. New environments actually wake up your brain and create fresh neural connections. So even exploring your own neighborhood, getting outside for a walk, going to your local park, which is free. And if you're not in shape right now to take an hour walk, take a 10-minute walk. Take a 5-minute walk. Even small little changes. Taking a new route to work, reading a new book, just putting yourself in new environments, rearranging your dorm room, rearranging your apartment. Any little thing creates new neural pathways and connections in your brain that grow new neurons and prevent aging. Okay, the next thing is celebrate evidence. Now, this is something that you can do, and it's really a lot easier than you think, and it's fun. So, what people watching? Go to the mall and people watch. follow vibrant older men and women online that are so amazing. Like, I'll never forget this 86-year-old guy that I took care of when I was doing my nurse practitioner rounds, and he was 86 with a V and a 6 feet. He looked like a 40-year-old movie star, right? And this is no plastic surgery. This is just a down-home guy from a country town in Georgia that just exercised every day. And I see people like this all the time. There was a 90-year-old lady at St. Joseph's that just all dressed up, walked in, shoulders back, standing straight. You know, I had a lady that I took care of that was an Australian model that was in her 80s that was still drop dead gorgeous. You know, it's a vibe, right? We don't have to be social, societal constructs of or conceptions of beauty, but just, you know, what makes us feel good. That's what it's more about, is how we feel and what we project to others. So collect proof that beauty does not expire, okay? So whether that's on your social media feed, your TikTok, your Instagram, your Facebook, people watching, you know, looking up on Safari or whatever, Googling, you know, movie stars that look young or people that look a lot younger than they are, especially ones that, you know, they don't have all that plastic surgery, and, you know, not that they maybe didn't get a little work done, right, like Botox or fillers, but, you know, or even in real life, look at people and you'll notice people. It's very interesting. You'll also notice that phenomenon about men and women hitting on people their own age. So, my beautiful friend, please hear me. Age is not a cage. It's your canvas. Celebrate it. It's wonderful. You know what I mean? It's great because you've learned, you've got all this experience behind you. You know, you hear people saying, if I knew, you know, at 21 what I know now, well, you do know it now. So go out there and do it. Whatever it is you wanted to do, whatever it is your desires are, have fun. Movement is medicine. Joy is a youth serum. Your energy, not your birth date, is what turns heads and lights up rooms and builds empires. Whether you're 25, 45, or 85, you can create a body and a life that radiate vitality, beauty, and magnetic energy. The clock doesn't decide when you shine. You decide when you shine. And there's no more proof than looking on social media and seeing a lady that says, this was me at 40, and now this is me at 50. And she is just transformed in this hottie, you know, where when she was 40, maybe she was frumpy or whatever. So you can defy age, right? That's the stereotype of aging. You can't actually defy aging. You can slow it down, but you can completely shatter the stereotype of aging. So, what habits will you adopt today? What will you do today for 5 minutes that will reduce those senescent cells, that'll make you feel better and defy aging? Where in your life have you already defied the aging stereotype? Maybe you're 87, your mind's still really sharp. Maybe you're, 45 and you have the body of a 25-year-old. Maybe you've earned more money at 25 than most people do in a lifetime. How have you defied age stereotypes? When do you feel most alive in your life? When do you feel most alive? And how can you create that energy in every week of your life? When do you feel most alive, and how can you create that same energy every week in your life, right? Another thing, when we talked about the 87-year-old that still has the, sharp brain, that's another very interesting stereotype that I come across all the time, which is as you grow older, your mind doesn't work and you forget things and you become senile and you get dementia, or you have Alzheimer's, and that's just a normal part of aging. We learned this in nursing school, and I'm going to reiterate it now. Dementia and Alzheimer's is not a normal part of aging at all. As a matter of fact, less than 10% of people globally and in the United States have Alzheimer's and dementia. It is an actual disease that is caused by genetics. It can also be caused by drug abuse and excessive alcohol consumption throughout one's life. But that excessive alcohol consumption doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to have dementia or Alzheimer's, just like excessive drug abuse doesn't mean you're going to have that. But those things do kill brain cells, which may lead to that. But those are actually genetic conditions. So most people, because we now know that you grow new neurons your entire life at 85, 90, it doesn't matter the age, most people are pretty sharp when they get old, and their brains and their minds are intact. So it is not a normal part of aging for your brain to debilitate to the point of Alzheimer's or dementia. That is a disease that is not a normal part of aging. So there are things that you can do, though, that can help your brain cells grow. So look it up. Neuroscientists tell us that there are certain things that create new brain cells in your brain no matter how old you get. Learning is one of those things. Nutrition. Certain foods like blueberries are known to aid in neurogenesis, which is the formation of brain cells. Sex, movement, physical activity. These are also things that will create new brain cells, keep your mind sharp and keep you young. And there's lots of things out there, so make sure you look that up because it's very interesting. If today's episode was interesting to you or lit a fire in your heart, share it with a friend who needs a reminder that beauty truly has no expiration date. And if you're ready to move, glow, and thrive with me, visit luminafit.com, LUMINAFIT.com for fitness classes. You can go to CoachHeatherOwens.com for classes, mindset resources, virtual resources, and my all-access membership that will keep your body and your energy forever young. Until next time, stay radiant, stay fearless, and remember, you are timeless, you are amazing, and you can do anything that you set your mind to. So the social constructs, the government, the people trying to keep you down, don't listen to those lies for a second. You are beautifully and wonderfully made. No matter what age you are capable, whether you are 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, whatever, 100. You are capable of doing anything that you set your mind to. And the best is yet to come. What are you going to do today?
See that you're good.